Yo, what up, world, big prophet Jewel. Today, wanted to talk about the concept of beauty. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about it, a lot of misconceptions. I think the world and society, many industries in this world profit off of the confusion around beauty. Women get judged unjustly by a standard of beauty. I don't think there should be a standard of beauty. I think it's like just the idea of beauty having a standard shows how much we confuse what beauty really is. You know, um, Beauty is not the thing you're looking at; it's how you look at it. All right, I'm gonna explain a little bit. Vanity is what we end up confusing beauty for, and vanity is just a cheap knockoff of beauty. It's not the real thing. It's really an ego-driven illusion, you know, and that's what is sold to us instead of beauty, and and that's why people don't appreciate. You know, Beautiful is just a word we use for the things we appreciate. But let me clarify everything. I got 3 definitions for beauty. So the first one would be the scientific or the objective point of view, where it's all about our senses, what appeals to our senses. Whether it could be the shape, the color, the texture, the balance, the symmetry, patterns, simplicity, contrast, vibrancy of colors. These are things that we find beautiful as human beings, scientifically speaking. This is what appeals to our senses. The opposite, I guess, would be ugly. And how would you scientifically describe that? I guess it's the opposite. Where instead of vibrancy, it's dull. Instead of order, it's chaos or disorder. Instead of simplicity, it's complexity. It's what's overwhelming to our senses. We don't things that we don't understand. Instead of vibrancy, is dullness. So these are the things, like a mess. Instead of it being neat and simple, it's a mess. And that's what the things that we find ugly to our senses or unappealing. So that's just the first definition. The second one is the artistic, the subjective. It's a matter of opinion or taste. There's no right or wrong. It's just what appeals to you as an individual. Just like music, just like food, or art itself. Like when Impressionism came in, people didn't get it, people didn't understand it, people said it wasn't art, but it opened up different possibilities, and the world was never the same. Once people started accepting it and seeing the beauty in it, it changed what was possible, opened up different channels of what we call art. Now we see art totally different now, Okay, well, the third and most important definition, in my opinion, is the spiritual. Now, when we're talking about the spiritual, we have to keep a few things in mind. First, like I said before, it's beauty is not the thing that you're looking at. The thing is not beautiful or ugly. That's a judgment, It's the way you look at the thing that makes it beautiful or ugly. And it's the amount of humility you have that determines how much beauty you're able to see. You know, like look at Buddhist monks, they're incredibly humble, and they continuously humble themselves. And when you hear how they speak about things, they use the word beautiful all the time to describe everything, because they're able to see the beauty in the world around them. But that takes humility. That takes being humble. Mm-hmm. If you put yourself in a position to judge other things, you're putting yourself above those things and you're looking down on them. Nobody likes to be judged, and even more so, nobody likes to be judged unfairly. You know? So like they judged Impressionism and said it wasn't art. This isn't beautiful, so it's not art. They were looking down on it. They were putting themselves above it. They didn't have the humility to see the beauty in it. And they also confused the artistic understanding, the subjective understanding of beauty, with the scientific understanding of beauty. They thought, like with science, there's a right, there's a wrong, there's a perfect and imperfect. Beauty is not about what's perfect or imperfect. It's not about what's right or what's wrong. That's just an ego-driven thing when you apply a scientific method to things that are spiritual, or even things that are art. You know, science doesn't encompass meaning. You understand? You know, it's not about meaning. Beauty is about meaning. You know, you could hear a story and that's what makes it beautiful. The meaning of the story. You could go through a horrible experience, and then after you learn to look at it differently, your perspective changes on this horrible experience, and then you're able to see the beauty in it. So beauty is not the thing you're looking at. Beauty is created in your mind. It's how you look at the thing. It's perspective. So when you look at someone and you say they're ugly, really it's your distortion. Your lack of humility distorts how you perceive the things around you. If you were humble, if you humbled yourself, you'll be able to see the beauty in it. And when you look at yourself, you have to humble yourself. But also another word for humble is acceptance. You have to accept yourself to see the beauty in you. You know, you're not going to be exactly like something else. If you keep measuring yourself to something else, you'll never be able to appreciate. And that's what beauty is, like I said before. Like, beauty is a word we use for things we appreciate. If you don't appreciate yourself, and if you don't accept yourself enough to appreciate yourself, then you won't see the beauty in yourself. And this world, this society, this culture that we're in, it drives us to put ourselves up higher than we actually are. We put ourselves above others so we could judge them. We put ourselves above things so we look down on them, so we never really have an appreciation for them. For one another, we don't have appreciation for one another. We try to judge others to put ourselves higher. And that's just an illusion, because none of us are superior to one another. There might be things that we're better at, But no one's superior to anyone else. We talking about spiritual. On a spiritual level, we're all just reflections of the same God. It's just one. It's just one. We're all one. So how could we ever be superior to one another? But if you're not looking at things in a spiritual level, then you can't appreciate the things around you. You'll miss the beauty and the meaning of life. What is life without beauty? It's like life without meaning. Beauty is the meaning. Being able to appreciate it. It's a lot of things. Even combat, even fighting. You read Sun Tzu, Art of War, how he talks about war. And he says beautiful several times. And it's because he's able to appreciate different aspects of it. Even something as cruel as war and has beauty in it. Now, if you could see something like that, but you can't see it in your fellow man or woman, especially women, because they're judged on this idea of beauty. And let me back up. Let's talk about vanity for a second, because beauty and vanity get mixed up all the time as a modern context. So what is vanity? Like I said, it was an illusion. When we talk about confusing the scientific with the art, or confusing the objective with the subjective, it's just an illusion. You're confusing yourself. You could cause a lot of damage when you think your opinion is the only opinion that matters. Or this standard, this is like this standard of beauty. Like, if you really look at it, beauty should not have a standard. It's really like, what's the standard of perspective? How can you? There's no standard of perspective. Like, it's nonsense. So a beauty standard is nonsense. It's a matter of growth, and it's a matter of how much spiritual development you have. But let's get back to vanity. I think it's fake, and I think it's aspiration towards an idea of perfection. They put out this standard of beauty out there. They promote this standard of beauty of what they think is perfect. And then you have people like Kylie Jenner out here that's so insecure in her natural state that she spends, who knows, they probably spend millions of dollars on surgery, carving this poor girl's face up so she could fit into this beauty standard, and this image that satiates the ego. And now everybody thinks she's the shit. She probably thinks she's the shit, got everything she wants, but she didn't accept herself. She didn't accept what God gave her. She didn't see the beauty in herself. So now she's in this game, this race, chasing this illusion. And that's what everybody does. That's where it's vanity. It's an illusion. You putting on this makeup, you doing these surgeries and Botox and all this shit, just to have the illusion of beauty. But beauty is perspective. It's love. It's acceptance. It's appreciating what's there. Beauty was always there to be found. Beauty is waiting to be found. But it's not. It'll never be there if you're chasing an illusion. Like I talked about the objective and subjective in the past, Jewel, and I spoke about vibrating particles and sound and everything, and light, and how we perceive reality is not the actual reality. It's all conjured in our mind when everything's just atoms and particles vibrating and reflections that we call light. And that's how we're able to see color and vision, and we create this reality in our mind. The actual scientific reality is just particles vibrating. You know what I mean? We don't see those particles vibrating. We don't see atoms. We just conjure up this reality within our mind. We manifest it. You understand? So anything that's not real, like anything you see, is an illusion. So this idea of what is ugly and what's beautiful is just another illusion. And if you try to put on something to make yourself feel beautiful, it's an illusion. You're tricking yourself, and you're tricking others if you think that's what beauty is. You know. So, and that's what I'm saying. All these you see these makeup tutorials. They know they're creating illusions. They're creating something that's not real, so it could be perceived in a certain way. But what is real is you, and the ideas and the thoughts, like how you look at the things, how you look at that. That's what you could really control. And you'll never know your true potential until you accept yourself and love yourself. You'll always be chasing this facade, this persona. You'll never really tap into what's really inside, because you're chasing an illusion. So you try to fulfill this illusion. You try to create an identity for this illusion, and you're always overcompensating. And that's where the ego kicks in, because now it's like, I've been wanting, you felt like you felt ugly, you wasn't getting love. Now you feel like you over deserve of this love, like this love. Like, put yourself in the Kylie Jenner shoes. I don't want to speak ways about anybody, like assuming about stuff. And it's not fair to judge and everything, but imagine if you transformed yourself. You felt so insecure that you transformed yourself, and now you feel like hot shit, and everybody around the world thinks you're hot shit. How does that change you spiritually? But we don't take into consideration the spiritual aspect. We have to learn to appreciate ourselves and one another. And it's a damn shame that we don't. There's a lot of girls I know that get judged unfairly and get treated horribly based on their appearance. And it's not fair, and I feel bad, because like, if we as a society were able to understand what beauty really is, then they wouldn't be treated the way they were. But this is going on pretty far. But I think I got pretty much the gist of it. And like, life without beauty is meaningless. And that's because beauty is meaning. It's the meaning that you give to it. Maybe I'll do a part 2, but that's pretty much the gist of it, y'all. Nothing but peace and love. I want you guys to practice seeing the beauty around you. Humble yourselves and accept yourself, so you can see the beauty within yourself and within others. Peace and love, y'all.